All right, 2 decision makers you got to get to right now. We're going to be talking about that today. I'm going to grab for everybody the winnable opportunity matrix as part of. Wait a minute. Let me get it. I promise I'll get this. At least I think I will. Here we go. I'm going to drop in. I'm hoping everybody can get to this. I hope this lands in here. Well, can I drop this in here? This is actually the brand new, well, because it's currently in use. Hold on a second. I got to close it first because Zoom does not let me do. I'm going to make this open up. Wait a minute. I'm going to make this open up to the right page, and then everybody can navigate to where they want to go. Hold on. Let me save this.
Looks like you got another AI.
Got another AI?
Yeah, I'm trying to slot him down right now.
Okay.
All right. Can you do it, Todd? Let me make you a co-host, and then you can do it.
By the way, you have an Excel spreadsheet of things.
What's that?
Showing. You have an Excel spreadsheet on your screen?
Oh, that's pretty much what it is. Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right, so what we got here is I just dropped it in there. I put in the winnable opportunity matrix as the last page on this. I actually open it up to the tab. If you download that, this is the latest sales numbers. We're going to review that, what we got that's spent year to date. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. Quick disclaimer, we're not affiliated with anybody but each other. What do you think about that, Brian? We're affiliated with each other only. We're not part of GSA or anything else, even though some of us have been former contracting people. A former Govy. Who's been a former Govy here? You're the only one, Brian.
No,
that's
Todd.
right.
And Raphael. Right.
Todd's been a former Govy, so he knows a little bit about this world. So, and if we have any government personnel...
That's a stretch.
I am not.
I know a little bit less than a little bit.
So
I still look at, Dave, after 34 years, I still look at my bank account every 2 weeks, and nothing ever shows up
It's
anymore.
not there. You didn't work that out before you left, Brian?
No, I figured maybe somebody might have made a mistake, but they haven't yet in 9 years. So.
That's wild. All right, let's ask this question. This got a little bit of a different switch. How many years you been in business? Whether you just started yesterday or we've been around for a while, and then do you have federal business? That means contractor grants direct, or maybe you're doing sub work. And what problem are you trying to solve today? How you like that? Changed it up a little bit. So real quick, a little dose about ISI Federal. ISI Federal is the sponsor for this event. We've been helping companies since 2009. You can see a whole bunch of things that we have, market intelligence. We actually are going to be talking about these people, 132,000 program people that we have in our database, and 70,000 active buyers, theoretically. I'm not sure that that's actually right because of the fork in the road, Brian. So some people took the fork in the road and some people got forked, right? But we will be talking about GovBrief today, how we help to reach these folks a little bit. We've had 12,000 satisfied customers and 2 that weren't.
Wow.
One of them said they didn't like my presentation style, and I said, you get a refund. I'm not
Dave,
changing.
I thought we weren't going to talk about what you and I talked about.
What's not to like? What's not to like?
So yeah, well, hey, everybody to each their own, right? And then somebody didn't read the agenda. Rafa, I think you remember this cat. He didn't read the agenda and was like, "This is not what I expected." I was like, "Did you read the agenda?" Okay, so that's the 2 people that weren't satisfied. So
and then somebody that said, "I thought it was on Western time." No, it's at EST.
Look,
that was it. That was it.
That happens sometimes. People mess up the time. But when it came to the actual substance of the matter, there's 2. Anyway, we're not going to dwell on 2 people out of 12,000. I can guarantee you that. We've helped book over $3 billion in federal sales. The things that we do are on the right-hand side. We'll be talking about that. We'd love to help you. Sam Radar is now Fed 360. If you're not familiar with Sam Radar, you don't have to be. Just go to fed360.agency. We'll be talking about that today a little bit and is dealing with the buyers. So, hot seat questions for the panel today. Who are program people and what do they need from you? Kind of how do we get to them, right? And what can we do to persuade them to operate in our favor? All right. And then the other one is who are procurement people. Denise Lawrence, there's a difference between program people and procurement, isn't there? Just a little?
Just a bit. Yes,
Just
sir.
a bit. And Denise helps folks with proposal generation. So her hands and her fingertips are burning off right now. And then how to use Sam Radar to help? You can't, because Sam Radar doesn't exist. But if you go to Fed 360, you can find it. We love questions. If you'd like to engage, we love it. Raise your hand. You can pop it in the Q&A. You can put it in the chat. We'll try to keep track. And we also love the feedback, just like somebody did the little clappy clappies. We love the clappy clappies. Don't we, Rafa? We love people to say that they like us a little bit.
That's it.
All right. So what we're going to do today, we're going to connect you with experts. Everybody that's on this panel is an expert in some form or fashion, or at least they think they are. And we'll be talking, we'll be discussing what works, some shameless plugs specifically for this up here for GovBrief and Fed 360 today. We're talking because guess what? We can help you. The folks here are uniquely qualified to be able to help you in the federal space, and we'll talk a little bit about that too. The session docs, I'm going to grab the session docs in just a minute, and you can download the propaganda as well. In fact, let me see if I can grab that real quick. Actually, I'll grab that when somebody else is talking. In fact, let's talk about some of the FedCon news. I'm glad that my good buddy Brian Hebel is in the house. He's got 32 years as a contracting officer. What agencies did you work for, Brian?
DOD early in my career, and then Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services.
Yep.
And 28 years.
And he's a slacker because he only handled $1.5 billion a year in contracts, just letting you know. And he's a total slacker because he's writing books and getting published. You have multiple books out there, right?
Yeah, in fact, Dave, I was going to talk to you about my worst comment I ever got on a fiction book that I wrote that was in Goodreads, but I won't go down to detail, but I'll have to talk to you about that. But Raphael, we remember the bad comments, not all the million good ones we got, right?
That's right.
Just like your government corps, they're only going to remember the bad things you did, not all the good things you did during the course of the year, you know. But anyhow, the 8A keeps changing every day, Dave. And there was just news came out yesterday that I still haven't read, but when we get to our presentation on the 28th, I'll have our information updated. But there's the biggest change in the 8A program is certainly that before a government contracting officer can consider awarding a sole source to an 8A less than $5.5 million, they have to consider competing it on GSA or another IDIQ vehicle. That's probably the biggest change. And the news that came out yesterday that I didn't really get into the details of, but it has to do with now anybody. It used to be as it says with the guidance out there, it used applying to the 8A program was a lot based on race, and now it's not based on race. It's based on whether you've been disadvantaged. So and you have to have two documented ways that you could show it, and they got a lot of unfavorable comments about where they were going with the program, and some questions about can a woman submit that documentation. So there's a lot of new information out there that if you want to apply to the 8A program, and as an individual, it didn't impact the Native American companies, but you really need to know whether it's going to be worth it to you to apply. Number one, and number two, once you do apply, how to use it to get contracts. But it's changed a whole lot from how it has been in the past. Yep,
and we've done this. You and I have done this. You did most of the work. He barely lets me talk anymore for that session, which is probably very wise. But besides that, I think one of the biggest changes is the contracting officer can get it out of 8A without an act of God or Congress or some other divine intervention.
Right. Don't have to go back to SBA to pull it out, so you can put it, but you have to put it a woman-owned SDB, OSB, or a hub zone. You can't just take it out of the 8A altogether.
Yep. So that's very cool. So there's a lot there. That we also have a bunch of firms that were issued termination notices, and we know that decreases the competitive landscape in there. There may be good reasons for you to explore 8A. I think it's going to come back. I think that the sole source capacity is going to come back. That easy button got removed, and and there's a lot of trepidation. So that provides opportunity, the $44 billion plus there. So join us there. I popped that into the chat. If you're interested in that, you can see that 8A session with Brian on the 28th. Some additional news that I'll rely on former contracting officer Brian Hebel for, too. There's something called the Revolutionary FAR Overhaul. What's the RFO, Brian?
Well, certainly there's just some new information came out on that actually yesterday, too, which I haven't gone into the detail, but they totally upended the FAR and rewritten the FAR and probably reduced it by about 20%. I think some of the biggest, so anything that was statutorily mandated stays in, stuff that's not, like having to coordinate with the SBA, not statutorily mandated, has come out. And actually, one of the big changes for those that are on GSA, the FAR used to be about 20 pages for how to do GSA orders and procurements is down to 2 paragraphs, and that got moved to a GSA manual, which no contracting officer. Raphael, you ever hear of a GSA manual before? I never looked at a GSA manual in my life, and now that's where you kind of have to refer to how the government contracting officers are going to buy it. And in addition to that, the stuff that was not statutorily mandated has gone into what's called the companion guide, and the companion guide is information that helps contracting officers know what some best practices are, but nothing with shall, must, or language like that in it. It's just guidance. So big changes. And what I'm really seeing, Dave, actually, what's really changed, we just did training on Friday with source selection, and before, source selection was really just based on best value, right, primarily, or like a LPTA. But now that's really changing. There's a lot of new procurement source selection techniques that are coming out that contracting officers are using. And when I talk about source selection, I'm talking about like just really, as we all have seen it, and Raphael or Sally, if you want to comment on it with like clients you have, just the source, the RFIs and the SSNs, source of sought notices that are coming out, they're really, to me, they're like source selection because they're using them as down selects.
Yeah, they are.
So like, I don't know, Sally or anybody else want to comment?
Thanks. So Brian, Raphael helps a lot of my clients, and I know he's much more qualified than I to speak with that, and he has some good insights, Raphael, if you want to come in.
Sure. So what I've seen is, thank you, Sally, and thanks for the question, Brian. So what I've seen is they're applying a lot of private sector best practices in source selection. And so the sources sought notice was intended to be a market survey to begin with, right? So, and it kind of, it's pre-acquisition strategy. So what they're doing now is they're applying a lot of the front end vetting out, if you will, or down selecting the pool so that the government can define an acquisition strategy early on in the game, right? Rather than down the line. And so that's what's happening. I've read a lot of the documents back and forth because we've been advising clients on how to navigate these challenges, right? And what we're doing, Dave, to help them address these concerns is we're preparing the contracting officer specific sources sought capabilities, statements, and narratives to fit the scope of work that they're looking at. That's
very important. Yes. I want to bring that up when we start talking about engaging with the contracting officers, because I believe that is key. In fact, I had a meeting with Chanel Bankston Carter. She's the Oz Boo for the VA. And we literally talked about that your capability statement should not be static. You can have your static one up on the web, right, Rafa? Yeah. But when you're engaging with people, you need to be specific about how you're going to service them. Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Raphael, but it's really interesting. It's really interesting, like, because you used the word acquisition strategy, and Dave, like we did a training, we went to do a training on acquisition strategy, and nobody's really interested. You say source selection, and industry gets interested. Yeah, but to me, they've kind of it's acquisition strategies become a lot of down selects. Yep. Just so they can buy quicker. So the question is for like Dave and everybody on here, how do you get on that list? Right, because most agencies, unless you're in DOD, a separate, a little bit different, but they're doing a lot of really GSA limited buys that you don't even know if it came out. They don't have to. They used to have to tell you if you asked for it, they had to give it to you. FAR 8.404F, David's favorite clause. If you ask for it, they got to give you the GSA. Well, they took that out, and now they can say, "Screw you." If they ask for it, they don't have to give it to you, so they'll just go out to 3 to 6.
1 second, Brian. Let's let Todd go in. 1 second.
Well, I was just going to say to Raphael's point, if you look at this kind of like a hiring organization within a company, that's exactly the way you got to go. Like, for example, instead of, you custom tailor your resume, you custom tailor your capability statement. You go after, you look at the contracting officer as the recruiter and the program people as the hiring manager, and everything starts to make sense, right?
Yep.
Like the contracting officer is just that little gatekeeper to prevent you from bothering the program people.
I love it. Oh, we'll talk about that in a minute. So
I like that.
Say something.
I like that.
wait a minute. Hold on, guys. Go ahead, Rich. You're new. You get to be able to interrupt.
No, real quick. I just want to say, when you go to hire somebody, you kind of have a job description. You know what it is that you're looking for. But a lot of time, programs and even contracting officers don't know exactly what they're looking for. So when you get down selected, I like to talk about that and learn how more about what that really means. But my GSA counselor told me what you're really looking for is to be able to continue the conversation so they can help them to identify what their requirements are. And then, as you do so, you can tell them what your capabilities are within that scope of requirements.
I love it. Yeah. And in fact, we're going to get back to that. Rich, remember that when we get into our conversations, because one of the things we have new executive orders. There happens to be 274 this term alone. So if you're not paying attention to what's dropping at the White House, these, by the way, become immediate law to everybody that works in the federal government. And a lot of people have no idea how it affects them. And we can use this to our advantage. Mm-hmm. One of the things that came up, we do happen to have a CMMC expert. They're under review, which is suspended for how much longer, Todd? Who helps people with this, in fact.
You're on mute.
There we go. Has to have at least one Zoom meeting, right? For it to be a Zoom meeting. It's by about 5 more weeks, we're looking at. But I've got more information. If you want me to wait, Dave, I can hold off till later for that. But
tell us what you got.
Yeah. So Kristen, I can't remember her name. The current DoD CIO just was at some conferences this past couple weeks in Vegas. So you have the DEF CON and you have Black Hat and you have RSA and you have basically all the cybersecurity conferences packed, one after another. And I've watched the videos, but from what I heard from people that were there, when people kept referencing a cancellation or like a full suspension, she noticeably rolled her eyes. Suggesting that this is just a pause, just like we knew all along, right? Because people were trying to turn this into something it's not. This is just a kind of a safety stand down, so to speak. This is a compliance stand down. They're just taking stock, just as all 3 other DoD CIOs have done in their time, as pointed out by all 3 DoD CIOs, right? Like this is nothing. It's going to go back to normal. We are tracking some potential changes. But that's a separate conversation. I could do a whole GovBrief on that.
in fact, you are, as a matter of fact. August 27th, I just put it in. He's going to be on GovBrief talking about this. If you're in the defense industrial base, want to get into the defense industrial base, or if you're looking into the future just a little bit, maybe a year or two, this is coming to a civilian agency near you. It is going to be important. And I will say this:
Brian mentioned the FAR overhaul.
Yeah,
there are substantial pieces of CMMC that exist in the FAR overhaul. So that same FAR overhaul that's changing all these things that Brian was talking about, it's going to implement a lot of the same requirements that your DoD, DOW counterparts are having to deal with today.
I love it. I love it, love it, love it. I think it's really important, matter of fact, because all these changes are affecting you. If you're in this world, either as a prime or a sub, right, guys? It affects you.
Subs are getting hit the hardest.
Yeah, and that's a fact,
Oh, really?
especially in CMMC. And we can leverage all of these changes, just like CMMC is difficult, right? What happens if you get it, Todd? What if you're one of the few?
You're now on a short list.
That's exactly
that's
right.
one thing that she mentioned is that they're trying to put together a program to emphasize and lift up these people. It's not, hey, you're getting punished for doing it early. No, we're going to actually reward you for doing it early. And that's a sentiment that she hammered home.
Yep. And incumbents are vulnerable. The FAR has made it. The 8A has made changes. All these things have made incumbents vulnerable. And what I'm suggesting is that you meet with the experts here. Ask for a meeting with these folks here. If something resonates with you, say, hey, I want to meet with Sally. I want to meet with Brian. I want to meet with Denise. Let us know. That's why we're here. So where are we right now? We are literally in the middle of Q4. I ran this just the other day as part of the handouts. In your handouts, you see these reports, and these are being transitioned to Fed 360 as we speak. We are now in Q4. This block, all this block right here, has to be done by September 30th. Folks, we're 50 days away. And look at the block. Look at the size of the block and the money. By the way, these are B's, not M's. B's over here on the left-hand side. We're a couple $100 billion. This is what it looks like. A couple of things for everybody to know. These right here all are suppressed slightly because DOW, formerly DOD, we do use DOW because we want to impress the Trump administration, Rafael Marrero. That's what we want to do. We want to make sure we're congruent. We say Gulf of America, and we also say DOW. So there you go. Anybody that doesn't like it, guess who's in charge right now? All right, so this is what we have. It's the last 60 days, last 50 days, but this is the last 60 days on this calendar. This is what we can expect. It has happened every single year as long as I can remember. Brian, happens every year, doesn't it?
Dave, how many
Unfortunately,
billions?
Yeah, billions.
How many billion? I'm sorry, I can't see because of the overlays. I can't see.
I'm not sure how many billions it is in this range.
So from August, we're looking at from August. Let's see.
So we're talking about somewhere around 70 billion to
120.
120.
It goes above 120. Yes, so about $50
that's
billion.
per month.
That's per month.
Wow.
Yeah. That's per month.
And if you go back one slide real quick, Dave, the DOD alone doesn't it have like 1.5 trillion
That's right.
for the year.
Yeah, these numbers are
This whole
conservative,
chart
very
isn't
conservative.
even in the trillions.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, some of that goes to troop paychecks and such, but
Wow.
Yep.
No, there's a lot of capex
So
too.
let me
There's
just jump in for a second. So we're getting a lot of questions in the chat, Dave.
Yes,
I don't
we
know if
are.
you address
We
those.
will. I promise we'll get there, but I got to get through this part first.
I get it.
All right. So that everybody's on the same page. The information that's in that handout that I dropped in, it's also in the, I did put in the, our session documents. I'll put that in here too. All this information is in here as well. You'll be able to grab this is the 2025 fiscal year spending report. So, couple things. Both of these are federal systems. I'm going to do this real quick. This is my favorite. Brian knows it's my favorite because it's always about the number of offers that contracting officers like Brian Hebel have received, which means a contractor is bidding. That's all it means, right, Brian?
Yep.
A contractor is providing pricing. Look at this. If you take not reported in one, now Brian, former contracting officer, not reported usually means 99.999% of the time means what?
I'm guessing one.
One.
They didn't have any competition.
Because it's so hard for contracting officers to push the one. 60% of the dollars. No competition. This is important because some of this is going through the 8A program. Some of this is going through different contract vehicles. We'll talk about that. Now look at this. Shortlisted. 89%, 93% of the dollars shortlisted. Thumbs up if this is where you want to be. You want to be one of five. Why is it like less than five, Brian Hebel, former contracting officer? Because you like what?
No, competition, just not too much.
Just not too much. How many of us don't mind competition, just not too much? How many of us?
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly where we want to be. Now, here's the dirty little secret. 144,000 hit SAM.gov as opportunities, but 6.8 million awards actions happened. Doesn't even include modifications, Brian. 6.7. The difference is 6.7 million. Now, today, I'm going to be talking about the spending frenzy on SAM.gov, talking about the opportunities, the 2% that do hit. Some of these are sources sought in RFIs. We already started talking about that. The government's looking to solve the problems, right, Rafa?
That's right.
Right, Denise? They're looking for us to solve the problems. But so we also know that there's hidden contracts out there. And what about right now? So I ran this. Here's what we got. 78% of the contracts, 57% of the dollars, no competition, 87% of the contracts, 91% of the dollars, 117,000 hit, 4 million contract actions.
Wow.
So with that, I'm going to ask you, did you know?
Dave, I like to say to folks, I'm not greedy, just needy. So, I mean, there's money there.
I agree.
I hope everybody wants a little bit.
So being selfish,
Dave.
1 second, Brian, being selfish like Denise, did you know about the 98%? Yes, and you want some because you're selfish like Denise. What about maybe you knew something was missing, but you didn't know it was 98%, but you're selfish like Denise and you want some? Or maybe this is the first time you're hearing about it and you're selfish like Denise and you still want some. Or maybe you don't even believe it and you need somebody to prove. Maybe you're a skeptic. We got some skeptic questions in here for later. But you still want some. Even if it's not true, you still want some. How you like that? And if you'd like to try Sam Radar, it's no longer Sam Radar. I got to fix that. So there you go. What it is now is Fed 360. You can claim your free profile by filling in your UEI right now. You can claim your free profile right in that box if you go to fed360.agency. So just go fed360.agency, fill in your UEI. All right, we got through that part. Here's where we're going to get into the meat and potatoes. We will get to some of the questions. It's the last tab in the report that I popped in there. Let me ask you this question. Put in the chat for me, if you would. If I'm not in front of federal decision makers, the result will be what? And no, we can't answer this, Brian or Dr. Rich. If you are not in front of the federal decision makers, that's these folks on the winnable opportunity matrix. Monica says no money. Brian, David says losing opportunities. I would agree with that. Mm-hmm. And that's Shayla, no wins, no W's. Anybody else got anything? So, does everybody agree that we got to get in front of decision makers? Let's talk about who these decision makers are. They are program people, and David says helping your competitors. I agree with that. Helping your competitors by staying absent, right, David? Program people and procurement people, two different sides of the house. You have the program people that are responsible for getting the work done, right, Brian? And then you have the procurement people like Brian, who was responsible for getting the contracts done and working for the crazy people like us as we're doing work with the government. Would you agree with that, Brian?
Yeah, I agree with that. I used to meet with crazy people twice a week from that standpoint.
How many of us would love to be able to meet with contracting officers that thought like Brian, where they were willing to meet with us a couple of times a week? Thumbs up. Thumbs up for Brian, as much ribbing as I give him. Steven certainly would, right? As much as I give him. So these are the two that we're going to be talking about today. So the question.
And Dave, you know what I would always ask them when they came in?
What?
Simple question. How do I get to you?
How do I get to you? Which means?
What vehicles are you on?
Which vehicles? We'll talk about that in a minute, because the first question is talking about program managers. Who are program managers? What do they do? And what do they need from you? Right? So I will say this, if you're talking about subject matter experts, how do you find, if you're a SME in your industry, which you should be, if you're in business, you're already, no offense to Brian and the rest of the people that work for the government, you are an expert in your field, right, Brian? That's what you want. You want their expertise, don't you?
Yeah.
Right? So here's what we're going to talk about real quick. They're responsible. Remember those executive orders we talked about? We're going to circle back to that in a minute. But they're trying to solve problems. They're looking for you. They're looking for innovations. This is the project managers and program managers. They're defining the requirements. They need your best practices to put into the scope of work. What are the deliverables? What's the methodology? How do you solve their problems? How do you do it? That's what they're looking for. So our job, we got to help them solve a problem and help them look good. Why? Because they need the help. They need the help. So I'm going to reach out to Rich. I'm going to introduce you to Rich. Hold on a second, Rich. I'm going to introduce you in just 1 second when I get to you. Rich. Now, I call him Rich. I didn't know he was Dr. Rich.
Yep.
I like his name because it also means he's rich. He's rich.
Dr. Rich.
He's rich. He's a doctor. And I love Rich because I'm sorry, Rich, man. I have no idea how to say your real name. And you told me you don't go by your real name, you go by Rich. For us stupid American people like me. So tell us about you.
Well, let me backstep from. First of all, I'm from Greenville, North Carolina, raised in Richmond, Virginia. Okay,
so he's
and
from
I only
Rich,
use
man.
Rich. I only use Rich because sometimes I can't say it my doggone self. Okay? All right, but nevertheless, you can definitely reach me by that, and I'll answer to that. I probably won't answer to anything else.
There you go. Fantastic. So, Rich, now you know what program managers need. You do technology modernization, huge thing for them. In fact, you did a briefing on GovBrief on Agentic Systems Playbook for small businesses. You help them understand how they can use Agentic AI, right? So I know that you have expertise there. We do this so that we can educate the project managers internally. You're also a women-owned business and service disabled veteran. Thank you for your service, brother. And apparently, how did you get to be a Marine and a doctor? That's my question.
Well, man, I started off at 0811. That's field artillery. And so the question to the group is what I'm going to do with 20 years of field artillery. 0811. 0811. You know what that is? Field artillery. Cannon crew. Roll what? Right. They don't even use that anymore, I don't think. Right?
No, I was commenting on the fact you guys can't hear anymore, so.
Oh, yeah, that too. What am I going to do with that for 20 years? So I decided to try to become a medical doctor. That didn't work out. I was a respiratory therapist. And, I just moved to the Navy to do that because Marine Corps doesn't have any neonatal respiratory therapists.
All right. So tell us about what your experience is when you're working. Have you done contracts with federal government?
Yep. I've retired from one of the big three, and I was a part of major acquisition programs and provided creative ways to state the requirements, to verify what the requirements really are. And those were huge programs, right? Yeah. So then and those were related to biometrics, for example, and related to like efforts in using biometrics, right? Both Blue Force and Red Force. So after that, did cybersecurity, because I figured that was the only thing that was not going to get exported. We're not going to export our cybersecurity. So let me become an expert in that. But that's where I am now. And, how to apply cybersecurity. So it's not just one compliance platform, multiple, FedRAMP, FISMA, ISO, CMS, all those fun all those compliance things. They have an element of managing risk. So all these things, even the combat arms, even the neonatal respiratory, even systems, and even development has an element of risk management. So that's kind of what I focused on.
Love it. So, and project managers just don't fall out of the trees, right? You got to go get them someplace. Sally White happens to help people with events, and you go to a lot of events so that you can meet, because unlike contracting officers, which show up on sam.gov, the vast majority of project managers you're not going to find, and you may be able to find some of those at events.
Exactly.
And so tell us how, and it's kind of difficult, right? Because you go to the event and you gotta know at least that there's going to be decision makers there. So how do you engage with project managers when you're at an event?
Well, the first thing I do, thank you so much, David. It's great to see all of you, all my friends, and great to meet new folks today. So the first thing I do is I go to the conference website, and there's a lot of rich information there. We'd love it if they said, here's an attendee list, right? They don't do that. However, you can look at the speakers. So I first of all look at all the speakers who are presenting, and it will tell their titles. Some of them are project managers, program managers. Some are, anyway, they're from a lot of the big primes or from government contractors, and they come in a pack. Like I was at a HubZone conference, there were 8 people from GSA, 2 of whom were program managers and contract officers. And so they did a presentation. However, I don't want to go up to someone without that intel. So what I do is I share with Dave and Rob and his wonderful team, here's what I'm doing, here's where I'm going. Can you sort of help me get some guidance on what I say to these folks? And so I talk to them if I'm at the booth or if I walk in stock. I basically let them know that I'm there and see that they're doing some interesting things and et cetera, and talk to them. And that's how I find out who they are at these conferences. They're very difficult, as Brian and Dave and Raphael know. I had a woman walk up to me, and she was from GSA, and it said, program manager, no, a contracting officer. And I'm just like, Rrr. So I had to be really careful. I said, oh, nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah.
We're going to talk about them in a minute, Sally. We'll talk about contract officers.
Okay,
go ahead. You go ahead.
Anyway, same difference. They don't want to let their information. They'll give you a card. It's this blank card. It says, Department of War, or it'll, won't tell their name. It says you can call this mysterious number. Yeah. So you have to get to them in different ways. But I highly encourage you, if you're not on Fed 360, to get there, because that's how I get intel, so that I can, when I'm lucky enough and the stars are aligned to meet one of these individuals, that I have something somewhat intelligent to say. So
for those of you who missed that was a shameless plug for Fed 360. We appreciate that. And so the folks that you're talking about with the project managers, Todd, your CMMC is a requirement because you're doing work where the information has to be protected, and that information needs to be protected by for the program to be successful. So Sheila's asking this. We have an MSP that is CMMC certified. Can a small business leverage that certification before we finally get our CMMC certification? Can you start leveraging it?
Sorry, I didn't see the question.
That's in the Q&A.
Okay. No, unfortunately not. So there's basically it's per company, right? And so whenever you get your certification, especially for so whether you're doing self-attestation or you're audited, it's at a UEID level. Now you can get one audit to cover multiple, but it has to be genuinely the same kind of company. Like if you have business unit or wholly owned subsidiaries, that's one thing. But no, you have to be in the same control, same policy, same everything to kind of share an audit. But yeah, there are so many different one-offs that we handle all the time. Again, the great thing about the GovBrief, I only have 3 different plugs I can do for the GovBrief, right? But there's, part of the thing when you go to the GovBrief, you also get one-on-one consulting with the actual person, like a free 30-minute session, right, or whatever that looks like. So if you've got special cases, go to the GovBrief, and then that way we can sit down one-on-one and cover your actual individual situation.
Love it. So I'm gonna speak a little bit about this and do my own shameless plugs, just like you, Todd. Because today I'm talking on sam.gov, but I'm also talking about the unsolicited proposals. Program people and may ask you for an unsolicited proposal. So I will be talking about that as well. Love the approach for that. I'm going to ask you this question. Let me see real quick. Where is my... There it is. Who needs help finding and engaging program people? That's these people over here They include your project manager, your core, because contracting officer representative actually works on behalf of the program side, right, Brian? Even though they're contracting officer representatives. Also, the SES is the higher people in the organization for government-wide things, potentially, or agency-wide. But getting to those folks as well as TEP people. Brian, what does TEP stand for?
Technical Evaluation Panel?
Yep. And you want to, if you can understand, engage with some of those folks, they may not tell you that they're on the TEP panel, but they might be on the TEP panel, which will be reviewing your solicitation. Right, Brian?
Yeah. Yeah, they won't tell you if they're on it.
They won't tell you.
That's a good point.
So, with this, I'm going to talk about this.
Real quick, there were times that I was on an evaluation panel where it was like, hey, I'd just be snatched out of the hallway and you're on it now kind of thing. So they might not know they're about to be on the TEP, right?
They might not know.
Collateral duty.
That's right. But just because. All right. So prospecting and qualifying project people. First of all, my question is, and the question that we all have to answer is, how many program or project people do we know? So for everybody here, how many do you know of? How many do you know exist? Oftentimes, it's in single digits or 0 digits because we don't know specifically in our market. Secondly, the next part is, of all the people that you know of, how many people know you? Because it's really hard to buy from you. Right, Denise? It's really hard to buy from you if they don't know who you are. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
And sometimes the only way we can get there is by bidding or throwing out a bid, right? And then the next part is how many program people see you as an expert in your field. So now you're elevating yourself in that. And then how many of those people have told you insider information being, hey, here's what we're looking for. Here's when that's happening. Here's when this requirement is coming. So last month we did this, and as of the time we did the session, there were 12 agencies, this was last month, with 66 different program decision makers, and we were already starting to look at people. These are not OSDBUs or small business liaisons. They're actually key people that are responsible for this, and this was for maintaining quality fuel supply. Quality fuel supply, something that I don't think about. I don't even know if it's going to work. But guess what? 105 people now know of Steve. 84 people showed up, and now they see Steve as a subject matter expert in his field. 30 of them said they have a need. 5 have agreed to a meeting with Steve. So my question is Steve getting into the green?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And guess what?
And if he plays his cards right, he's also getting into the green.
That's right. He's also getting into the green. So what happens when you have access to engage with federal decision makers? That's these people here. That includes the contracting officer, by the way. You do need to get to the contracting officer. When you have access to engage, you get into the green.
Hey, Dave, I've had some of my proposal writing clients reach out to program officers that we found on Fed 360. And that program officer then says, hey, I am copying in these 3 program officers because I think they need what you have. Bam. So that's I don't need to know who they are. They need to know who I am.
That's exactly right.
Just like the hiring example I gave earlier, right? Like the hiring manager versus the recruiter. If the hiring manager calls the recruiter and say, hey, we need to hire Denise, they don't argue.
Nope.
And the same way if the program people call the contracting officer and say, hey, we need what Denise sells from Denise, they're not going to argue either.
That's right. And we're going to talk about that in just a minute specifically because the program people need to get the job done. Contracting officer need the contract with Denise so that they could get the job done. That's the way it works. So, number 1, getting into green is understanding your market, watching the activity. Now, for program people, we approach it a little bit differently. We talked about executive orders. Oh, by the way, 274 of them this term. What are the chances that something you do is embedded in executive orders. So check out the executive orders. You can find them on whitehouse.gov. Second is engaging those decision makers. We just talked about that, using GovBrief to engage those decision makers. I'm going to give you another example of a hot topic. Little bit of a hot topic, AI risk management. We talked a little bit about that. This had 63 different agencies, 505 registered, 342 attended. How many of us have been to a live event and didn't have a tenth of those?
Yeah, only during the pandemic.
So here we go. Expected requirements, 75 immediate, 59 by the end of Q4. By the way, that's 50 days. 38 some in Q1 of 2027, and this is supposed to be Q2 of 2027. For my convenience, PowerPoint, when I copied that, it made FY 2028. Don't ask me why. All right, so we have 19 that requested a meeting after that. That was during the session we were asking those questions. Here are the people that we were after. We're building them, getting into the green. All this happened in 1 hour. So that is what we did. Next step, build the relationships. We need to build relationships. You just had all those people in the room. They already know about you. And when we talk about who they are, they're C-level people, CIOs, CISOs. CISO, what does that mean, Todd?
Chief Information Security Officer.
That's right. Chief Information Security Officer that would care about AI risk management. So that's who they are. Now, my question is, Matt getting to the green?
Moving on up.
Moving on up. That's right.
And real quick, Dave, that's an important thing, right? Because you might not think about going after the CISO in an AI conversation. But if you can convince them, they're going to be your biggest champion on the other side.
And if they don't, let me say this too, Todd.
That's a great point, Todd.
If they're showing up,
yeah,
it
means they care.
You're distilling them. You're distilling them right there. They're already saying they need it. It's a beautiful thing.
And my question is, like, what does that translate to your guys, like to everyone else's? Like, if you're a field person, maybe that's your safety guy that's going to be your champion, or whatever that looks like in your individual field.
Exactly. This just happened to be AI. We did one for fuel, for God's sakes, Todd, and we had 105 people sign up. Are you telling me that there aren't people that need what you do in the market? So here's the plan. We are going to help you look good. Mm-hmm. We take your topic. If it's fuel, we take your topic. If it's AI, we take your topic. If it's whatever you do, we take your topic, we apply your expertise, and we get you on the calendar so that you start getting into the green with your program people as well as your contracting people. Everybody needs to know who you are. I'm saying this because the next available date is October 14th. You need to get on the calendar now, and I'm going to end this poll. I'm going to go to my next poll. And my question is very, very simple. Are you ready to get into the green? If you'd like to, get on with program people and start working your magic in front of program people.
Hey, Dave.
Yes, sir.
And one thing that's coming up, and it just popped in my head about 10 minutes ago when I just perused it, why what you're doing is more important today than ever. They're talking about changing the ability of government people. Like right now, if they want to use the charge card to get to you, it's limited to 15,000. They want to raise that to 100,000.
All right, do it. Go for it.
Yeah, and simplified acquisition procedures are now 350,000. They want to raise they're talking about raising them to 10 million.
Wow.
I mean, isn't that crazy, Todd? Todd and Raphael.
Did anybody?
So you just go out and get 3 quotes and you do a $10 million one.
I'm loving me some simplified acquisitions right about now.
No, it's crazy. You like to they get my training one. So Dave, like what you do, it could be like anybody. You know that you can get people on and get to somebody on a P card and they get a little charge card. Just $100,000, you know.
I have to change the prices on my website for my P card offers.
Hey, Rich, I can help you with that.
Yeah. Well, and hey, if you don't want to do CMMC, if you don't want to do all these other things, you got to get behind. You got to get below these numbers, right?
I love that. And there's a method to that madness. We should do that. Well, let's do a teaser for that for next month. All right. Next question for everybody. Who are contracting officers, and then what do they need from you? We do have Brian Hebel that's here, and I want you to tell me if we're right about this, Brian, that they're busy. Their hair's on fire right now, if you have hair. And they're not going to teach you how to do business with you. They're going to throw you over the fence to the Ozdaboo. They're risk averse. Am I right, Brian?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep. And they don't like new things because they're risk averse, but they do need you. They're experts in selecting how it's going to be purchased. That's what that means. They're experts in moving the paper. How is the paper going to be? They're going to select the purchasing mechanism to get to the contracting documents, and they want fast way. You used to use the easy button, which used to be what, Brian?
8A.
8A. And easy is good. So our job is make it easy for them to buy from you and value them. How many times have we heard contracting officers don't know squat about my world? They don't know nothing.
I hate that.
I've been in the room. So with that, I'm going to end this poll. I'm going to ask this question. Who needs help finding and engaging contracting officers, right? Because that's these people here. And the winnable opportunity matrix is right here. We're going to talk about engaging. We're going to talk that this is part of the process. When you grab that from the downloads, this is what your approach looks like. Watch for the activity. Contract activity is public data. That's what we talk about, right, Brian?
Yep.
And we need to get out in front of them and say, hey, at least we're here. Maybe the only way we can do it, right, Denise, is to throw a bid in because we can't get to them another way, right?
That's it.
But what we use is Fed 360. We talked about that because they have we got to get to these people so that we can build relationships and get our fingerprints on the scope of work. It gets us preferential treatment. And then when they start to shrink, we talked about source selection earlier, right, Brian? They're using CPARs now for source selection, as a matter of fact.
Couldn't be smart. Yep.
You never even know it exists until it hits an award on SAM.gov. Once you get there, you want to protect your contract. You want to build a moat around your castle. We're going to talk about a little bit, but first, go to Fed 360. Claim your free profile by entering your UEI on fed360.agency. It's free. It's my favorite four-letter word, Rafa.
Good. Muy bueno.
So we're going to talk. So now I want to talk about this a little bit. Contracting officers. Sally, you mentioned it. You ran into a contracting officer at an event. A lot of times you have contractors. Sometimes you don't even have them. Right. So we go to these events so we can meet key decision makers. Finish that story about the contracting officer. What did you do?
Yeah. So she walked up to the booth. I saw contracting officer. I tried to keep my enthusiasm down as opposed to grabbing her and everything like that. So we chatted. And I said, let me ask you a question. I said, I'm on a weekly, monthly group, and we're always talking about connecting with contracting officers. How would one connect with you, Joan? And she said, well, you can go to the website and there's a lot of us, totally evasive, right? She was not going to give me her information. So I said, I just out of curiosity, how long have you been with GSA? We talked, I said, are you ever going to retire? She goes, oh yeah. I said, what are you going to do when you retire? She said, I'm going to go to Horseshoe Island. I said, really? Where's that? Bahama? So we talked about that. She lit up. So we started talking about Horseshoe Island. We started connecting. She gives me her card. I said, well, can I call you just to find out where to go, where to eat, where to dine? She said, absolutely. So later, in about 2 hours, she comes to my booth, said, Sally, you're so interested in getting involved in the GSA. We're now doing a presentation right now, a panel. And everybody wants to get people at their panel because you don't want 10 or 20 people there. Like when Dave does his presentation at the Veterans Conference, we want to have thousands of people there. So she said,
at least hundreds.
So I left my booth. I literally left my booth, which I didn't want to, but when a contracting officer invites you to come to their meeting, I did. I came and I sat, she saw me, we acknowledged each other, and we're connected on LinkedIn, and we're now texting. So you have to be creative in getting in. And like I said in the chat, I'm happy to get on a free call with you and sort of help you get creative with your contracting officer once you figure out who you need to speak with based on 360. And just quickly, there's lots of questions we're not going to get to today. So the team, we're all going to look at whose question we can answer based on our expertise, and we'll reach out to you individually to make sure that you're heard. Just wanted to let you know that.
Yep, and we're going to get out of here in just a minute, but I do want to feature Rafael Marrero because we talked about what buyers need and the importance of being flexible in your capability statements to be specific for that particular agency and even that person, right, Rafa?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
very important.
So you do that on a regular basis, and I want to make sure that folks know, because just a generic isn't going to cut it anymore.
Nope.
Not going to cut it.
So people, you need to know who the program people are, right? Like we said before, program managers, project managers, and the contracting officer representatives, technical leads, they have requirements, right? So you need to treat the contracting officer as the person implementing what their client needs. Their internal client is the program office, right? So that's why they get breathed on down their necks. I mean, you need to capture viable providers of goods and services to serve whatever the mission directives are in that agency, right? So The contracting officer is there to exchange paper and get everything going. The program people are the ones feeling the pain because they have to implement mission objectives, directives, strategic objectives, and they have a short window of time. If your marketing materials are not focused on your intended audience, and if you're not doing a two-pronged marketing approach here, one to the contracting office, another to the program office, you're missing out on the big picture.
I
because
agree.
It's all about vendor risk management. And if they don't know you, they're not going to trust you for, just to kick you down the street even. So Please keep that in mind. It's very important to address the needs of the program management office, the operations people out in the field that are doing the work. Very important.
So do us a favor. If you'd like to meet with some of the professionals here, let us know. That's what I just launched the poll. I'll tell you what, we'll hang out for a couple more minutes. If you can hang out, if you put a question up, I want to make sure that we get to it. But I want to thank the panelists for being here today. Rafael Marrero from RafaelMarrero.com, my bud, my Cuban Colonel.
Kentucky Fried Colonel.
Sally White, who helps folks with trade show support as well as other events. LinkedIn Master, get together with her. She'll help you clean that up. Todd Crane, helping with CMMC. One more plug for you on August 27th. Hop on that. I love this session that he does. He'll be running that on the 27th. Denise B. Lawrence helps folks with their for-profit grants as well as writing RFPs. She'll be glad to help you out. And I know her fingertips are burning as well as the rest of her team. She actually did a session on for-profit grants just a few weeks ago, so you can find that on GovBrief. Nikita, I don't think Nikita's here today.
No, she would have popped in.
She would have popped in, but she did a DIY for GSA. If you're interested in GSA, check that out because you may be able to DIY it yourself, but it might not even be a good fit for you. Very important to check that out if you'd like. Dr. Rich, we call him Dr. Rich because he's rich. He's from Richmond.
And only rich in personality.
And if you're interested in agentic AI, check him out. He's on GovBrief as well. And
that's what rich people say, by the way.
That's right. Brian Hebel, is Brian still here? Or did he bounce?
He bounced.
He left. But check him out. You can check him out on Dismantling the 8A program. You can find that on GovBrief as well. And we will see you next month. Final shameless plug from me, myself, and I today at 1 p.m. 1 p.m. That'll be today, the SAM.gov opportunity tutorial. I only care about SAM.gov opportunities now through the end of September 30th.
Hey, Dave, I'll be on.
What's that? You're gonna coming on? Okay,
yes,
fantastic.
Yep.
So with that, let's go double back on some questions.
Yeah, I see one about Spanish.
Go ahead, Sally, ask it.
Oh, yes. Frank, are you still here? Frank Abero.
Let me see. Frank. Frank's here.
Yeah, come on in. Do you want to come on in and ask?
I got him unmuted. He can unmute if you want. Okay. But go ahead and answer the question.
Says we are a local Spanish language newspaper circulating in 6 countries. I'm already feeling Dr. Marrero can help.
Yes. See.
Go ahead, Rafael. How can you get government advertising? Go ahead.
He's not Spaniard, but he's Cuban, so.
I know, but he's talking about publishing, and Raphael's an expert in newspaper translation, right?
Absolutely.
Yep. So Frank, get with Rafa. He'll be able to help. What's the next question?
The one from Shayla. How do you get on the calendar? And this was in reference to when you were talking about doing GovBriefs.
Yep.
Or doing directly to the government.
Yep.
And I did reach out to her directly and just encourage her to fill out the poll, because that's going to automatically trigger some outreach in getting her scheduled.
Yep. So, and I will say this.
She can also reach out to Rob as well.
Yep. Rob at eyesightfederal.com. I just put that in there so you can reach out to Rob for getting on the calendar. So we love, and that'll get on with me and the production team as well. Great question. What else we got?
This same question somebody else had, Shayla had. That is, I guess, and looks like Todd responded. So I think we have covered the bases.
And we did it with only going over by 3 minutes.
Watch out now.
That's a record.
Watch me now. Watch me now.
All right, guys.
We covered the agenda. That's,
That's right. Pretty good. Fantastic. I got to go prep for the 1 p.m. Ralph, are you going to join me, you said?
Yes, sir.
All right, fantastic.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Always love it. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you next month.
Dave. Appreciate you.
Yep, you betcha.
Gracias,
all right,
Dave.
guys.
Muchas gracias.
Yep. See you guys.